this, and now we should be live. Jacob, you want to go ahead and talk?
Hello, everybody.
Okay, cool.
Uh,
It seems like everything is working. Now, I part of the beginning of this is going to be explaining all of the crazy hoops that you have to jump through in order to get this type of stuff working. It's absolutely insanity. And while I have everybody on, I'm going to try and actively set up Facebook as well. Because I think I also
I'm.
found a workaround for Facebook as well, which I think is pretty funny.
I think Twitch might be having issues.
What's going on with Twitch?
There's just no feed. It says that you're live, but clicking on you doesn't actually uh, have a feed.
Well, let's take a look. And hopefully I'm muted when I come in. So if I click on this, it says live, watch now. And you're right, it doesn't look like it is popping up. But it does say that I'm live.
Which is odd. I don't
It
know.
is odd. Hmm.
We're gonna have to
I saw
rename this
most.
video
No.
us figuring out. You said no?
Well, I'm trying to figure out why Twitch isn't working at the moment. Man, I really thought I had all this stuff set up too. I'm wondering. Let's see here. Okay. As far as everything on my settings is concerned, we are good, which is why I'm really confused. Are we live now? No, that's the old stream. So what is happening? It's interesting to me that it says live now, but it's clearly not live. Like there's clearly something going on.
Well,
You know?
I mean, I don't know a lot about how you start a stream, but I guess my assumption is there's a separate switch for turning on video than turning on the stream itself.
Potentially. Hey, welcome, Rule 34. That was the first comment on YouTube was Rule 34 from 404 error not found. Always glad to see you on the videos and stuff. I'm trying to figure out some weird technical difficulties right now. Because I don't know where there is interference, but something's happening to where it's messing up on Twitch right now. So we're just trying to figure that out. But it looks like when it comes to
Is that a comment on
YouTube,
YouTube?
everything looks perfectly fine on YouTube. So, man, we might not be able to do Twitch. That's kind of where my mind is at, because I don't know what to necessarily do. Like, I don't know how to fix Twitch without breaking everything else. But it does look like I'm live in other
You're gonna
places.
go with that?
I'm just curious what it could have been. Like, what broke it? Because Twitch should be my main output. So that should be the one that is working. You know?
Yeah.
So it's so odd to me that that is what's going down. Because it's literally working on everything. Like it's working on everything but Twitch. Huh, that's so funny. This is somehow the most success and failure I've had at the same time.
It's one of those you can have two, but not all three situations.
It would technically be 4. Welcome to everybody on TikTok, because it's clearly working on TikTok as well. So it's just Twitch right now that's screwing me over. That's crazy.
All reliable Twitch.
Well, Twitch is the only one I've never had problems with, which is the funny thing about all this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to... I'm just going to run it how it is now and say, sorry, Twitch, you're out for the night. You know?
Right.
Because I don't want to stop on every other platform.
Makes sense.
So I'm just tweaking a couple things to make sure that everything looks good. And I'm going to go for it. But what is missing here? Ah, okay. Okay, and then we should be good. Yeah. Wild. Wild. Sorry, I'm still beside myself that everything is working but Twitch. If you're just now tuning in, welcome everybody. I did a lot of research over the weekend that apparently was kind of in vain, but wasn't, because now everything is working but one thing. So, fun stuff that I want to chat about for anybody that is watching this and saw all that. When I post it online, I'll just clip out all the struggles up top. But I did a deep dive on live streaming software over the weekend because it was frustrating to me that I was following all the guides through like OBS and the software that I'm using to understand how to do this, and it wasn't working. So I just want to give a brief rundown of all of the hoops that I had to jump through to get this to work, right? Which apparently was on everything but Twitch. So on OBS, the way that I had to get this set up is I had Twitch as my primary source. So that was my primary stream set up through OBS. And then I downloaded a software that lets you do multi-stream, right? Which is how I'm currently casting it to YouTube and YouTube Shorts through Vertical. Because you need to kind of do both of them so that way no matter where people are watching, they can find the video, right? So you following with me so far, Jacob? Jacob, are you
Kinda?
there? Okay. It's essentially a software that lets you split where the stream is going. So essentially what this software does is it reads the Twitch live stream and then it just takes that and puts it on YouTube. Right?
Okay.
You with me?
Sure.
Okay. Now, YouTube has a feature where you can stream to the Shorts feed if you have it set up as a vertical format. So I downloaded another plugin that lets you format vertical content so I can stream to YouTube in both locations at the same time. That all is working. TikTok doesn't like it when you have your camera and your audio being shared. So what I had to do is I had to make sure that my OBS settings didn't match my desktop settings for my camera and my audio input and output, so that it didn't cross threads with TikTok to allow me to use my camera and formatting on TikTok as well. And then Facebook doesn't let you stream until you hit go live, and then it'll send you a preview of OBS, give you a stream key, and then you have to program it and push everything over there. So theoretically, I had everything set up to go live on Twitch, which would then go to YouTube in 2 different areas. Then it would go live on TikTok in 2 different areas. And then I take that feed and that code and put it into Facebook. So now we're live on, theoretically, Twitch, Facebook, 2 places on YouTube, and 2 places on TikTok to hit all the different formats between those 4 locations.
So we're live in 2 places on YouTube?
Yeah. And it worked on everything but my main source, which should be technically the only one working, because I don't understand how it's pulling those feeds from a feed that technically doesn't exist. You get what I'm saying? If it's not actually live on Twitch. So it's very confusing. It's like, with all that being said, I think I'm just going to get started on the stream and what we're talking about. How's that sound, bud?
Works for me.
Alrighty. So, the first thing that I thought we could talk about, I don't know if you're watching the stream or you can see what's on my screen. But IGN recently did a review of Bloodborne. They called it like a retrospect review, right?
Okay.
And I think at this point, everybody understands that the meme or the joke is that IGN is horrendous with reviews. You know?
Uh-huh.
I am running... Oh, sorry. 404 error not found to answer your question. I am running everything from one PC. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I know that there are people that run a dual PC setup for the live stream, but I do not have that kind of money. So I have to run it all from one to hopefully answer your question. So IGN recently did a retrospect review of Bloodborne and gave it a 9.1, which that's good, right? Especially because IGN has kind of gotten itself in hot water for how like absolute dog shit their reviews are.
Yeah.
But
did it really make you feel like John Bloodborne?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it really makes you feel like it. Oh yeah, no, I'm just gonna sacrifice Twitch tonight. That's how it's going. Twitch. If it works on everything but Twitch, sorry, Twitch. So I'm good there. Bloodborne, I figured you and I could talk about just the Souls series because it is arguably our favorite series of all time, you know?
Right.
Where, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you were being like hypercritical, where would you put Bloodborne?
We asked each other that question a few times.
Right, but this time I'm asking on camera.
Yes.
Not where it ranks to other Souls games, but just a hard line in the sand. You are a game critic and you have to write a review for a website. What out of 10 are you giving Bloodborne?
Oh man, that's even harder. Let's see. I would probably give it around a 9 to 9.5.
Okay.
I think IGN ended up in the exact range that I would end up putting it in.
Okay, nice. I was going to say a solid 9.5. Like, there are a few details in it that would keep me from giving it a 10. But I think solid 9.5. And a lot of the reason that I wouldn't give it a 10 is just some of like the technical things that I think could have been a little bit smoother, but that's really it.
Good news. You won't have to punch your PC because it's exclusively on PS4.
Yeah, it is exclusively on PlayStation 4. You can buy it for PlayStation 5 and play it on PlayStation 5.
Right, but they don't have a PS5 version of it. It's just
Why do I feel like Bloodborne
backwards
originally came
compatible.
out on PlayStation 3?
I thought it was a launch title for the PS4.
Oh, it might have been. Oh, I'm thinking Demon Slayer. Or not Demon Slayer. Demon Souls. Demon
Demon
Souls.
Souls.
Demon
Yeah.
Souls was a PlayStation 3 exclusive. But yeah, I would give it a solid 9.5. The only place that I feel like Bloodborne lacked compared to the other Souls games is the like Covenant system. And that's really it.
Oh yeah.
I think it literally did everything else better. You know?
I think the
I think you're coming in a bit
I'm
quiet.
trying to.
You can keep talking. I'm just
Oh, am I?
adjusting your. Oh wait, did you just like put the whole mic in your mouth?
I just. No, I was just moving it a little bit closer.
Oh, nice. It is better.
Is that better? Okay.
But yeah, I still to this day don't really understand the covenants at all in Bloodborne, and I think they are completely negligible in the game overall.
I'm trying to remember what the covenants even were.
Right? The only one I can
It's
remember is the Confederacy. I don't know what that says about me. But the only reason I remember it is because when I first found it, I thought it was funny that they had a Confederacy.
Yeah. I think there was one about madness, right? Was that the DLC one or something?
Maybe. I mean, there would have had to have been. But my follow-up question is, if Bloodborne gets a 9.5, is there any Souls game that outperforms Bloodborne?
I mean, you gave it a 9.5.
I did. And I'll give my opinion.
I gave it a
sure.
range.
So for me, it's incredibly difficult for me to rank all of the Souls series. As much as it might pain some people, Elden Ring is on the lower end of Souls games for me. And I don't know how upset that would make a lot of people, but I don't think Elden Ring's even in my top 3. I would maybe put it 5th, I think. If I had to rank all the Souls games, Elden Ring's making it at number 5, and I think Elden Ring is a solid 9 out of 10.
I mean, you're comparing the shininess of like a bunch of gold bricks.
Yeah, right, I know. And it's so funny because people's opinion within the Souls games varies so drastically. And I think one of the key things about the Souls series that is like a linchpin in everything is what people think of Sekiro. I think your opinion on Sekiro completely skews what your list for a Souls series is going to be. You know? Agree, disagree?
I think Sekiro was one of those where like it was the only Soulsborne game that you couldn't really like grind a bunch of levels out and just kind of just get too strong to fail or anything like that.
Right.
Which not to say that that's necessarily the case with Soulsborne games, but it's absolutely
It's
a
pretty
huge
big
advantage that
factor.
you can give yourself.
I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, if you
and
want to
so
put the time in to just grind out levels, you can overpower any boss in time.
Yeah. And it's one of those where like you can challenge yourself to try and not do that. But then Sekiro is just kind of like, well, good luck.
Yeah.
You can grind out some extra like skill points, but that's basically just going to give you some extra combos and stuff. That's about it.
Right. It's going to give you maneuvers and stuff, but if you still don't know how to use those maneuvers, you can't optimize how they turn out, you know? So for me, Bloodborne, probably my number 1. I think it's, for me, it's got to be Bloodborne for number 1. I'm gonna get completely roasted for this, but then Dark Souls 2, and then Sekiro, and then Dark Souls 1, and then Elden Ring. That's my top 5 Souls games, I think. I can't imagine the list any other way, and I'm basing it on like the fun I had, not necessarily the quality of the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think if we're if we're rating it on fun versus quality, I think Dark Souls 2 makes it a little bit higher on the fun scale for me because it had a lot of very, very fun moments when we played it the first time.
Yeah, it still
But
to this day has had my favorite PvP that's ever been in a Souls game. Period. I think Dark
with,
Souls 2 PvP was the most fun PvP I ever had.
and this was before this was I think they had the PvP arenas that you could do, but like they required currency. Like you had to spend like some item to get into them or something. And so
Well,
it just was
you had to for all of them, but eventually you would get the red sign stone. So it's like you either used a cracked eye or something like that, and then eventually
right,
you could do something to get the sign to be willingly summoned.
right. And then people would set up like arenas with just these hilarious honor systems of
Yeah.
like we're gonna have the host stand in the middle of this arena and nobody's allowed to touch the host. And if anybody does, all of the phantoms and summons like in the match just gang up on the one guy.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was fantastic, the arenas. I do have a couple quick little side notes before we continue the discussion with the live stream, right? So 404 error it says so it's catfishing you. Are you talking about for the I am using OBS.
that was
But are
that
you
was
talking about in context of like Twitch and stuff?
I think that was while we were talking about Sekiro.
Okay. I got you. But yes, I am using OBS. Now, Jacob, you're on YouTube right now watching the stream, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to do something and let me know if it messes or does anything weird with the live stream, okay?
If you're messing with things, I should note I think you're still technically live on Twitch,
Okay.
but I didn't know if you wanted to try and shut that down
I
or if you're
can't,
willing to just kind of let that be.
yeah, I can't shut it down because it is what is feeding the other live streaming services. So if I shut down Twitch because it's the like head of all of it, it will shut down all subsequent streams.
I might just leave a comment in there that there's technical difficulties and we're successfully streaming on YouTube.
Oh yeah, because the screen is black, but it's still.
It has the chat, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it still lets me. Oh, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It is funny though. I can't believe it's working for almost everything. Regardless, either way. But yeah, like Dark Souls 2 had some of the most fun experience that I've ever had when it comes to a Souls game.
You said you were going to try something that might break the stream.
What was that?
You said you were going to try something that might break the stream.
Oh, and if it didn't, then that means it's fine because the stream is technically live in 2 places on YouTube. I was going to check the other feed. It is still working. And I didn't know if when I switched it would mess with the other one.
Okay.
So we're learning.
I would say Sekiro might be. I would say it's. I'm not going to cop out and say it's tied for first.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I think it's probably first place in terms of like, just in retrospect, how much fun I had like beating the game.
Mm-hmm.
And at a very, very, very close second, Elden Ring for the just. I mean, I could go on, but like it's vast amount of content and all the multiplayer that we had.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of friends that were playing it too, and I wonder if eventually we'll try and go through again with like mods because
I don't have it for PC though.
we found out wow, that could be resolved with
Yeah.
money. But
Right. Yeah.
the uh, but like the mods that they have for PC are kind of crazy. Like completely changing up the magic system and like
Yeah.
making it so that co-op is seamless instead of a separate system.
Yeah.
And
Oh, speaking
so
of
many
magic,
like game changing.
Dark Souls 2 had the
Oh,
best
good.
magic, period.
Oh, yeah.
Like, as soon as they introduced the mana bar, I was a bit disappointed when it comes to souls, because I liked the fact that it's like, I have a soul arrow, I get 20 casts of it, and I know that, you know?
Yeah.
But magic was
Yeah.
broken in Dark Souls 2, like crazy.
It was if you learned to deal with it, it was okay. But like especially if you're someone that doesn't know how to dodge, for instance, the giant spell that creates like a whirlwind of soul arrows,
Yeah.
which by the way, all you have to do is dodge forward
Yep. Yeah.
and
But
you're
people
good.
panic
That's
because
all
there's
you have
so much going on.
to
But
Yeah,
that's when you hit
and
them with the
they
soul
get hit by
spear right down dead nut center while they're trying to, like, that's what you did. You did the swirly one, and then they're like, okay, I got to dodge forward, and then that's how you bait them with the soul spear.
Yeah. I
Um,
always had there was a weapon that you didn't need any actual skill to be able to use.
mhm.
But it would fire soul spear projectiles that weren't as strong as soul spear, but they were pretty good.
And
And
faster.
whenever anybody would like try and back off and hit me with a range attack, I would pull that out and start using it.
You just hit them with the wombo combo.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, so
Great
I'm
game.
always just curious where Souls games lie with people, because it's such a vast set of opinions. Like, most people do not like Dark Souls 2 in the grand scheme of Souls games. I think it's consistently on the bottom of most people's lists. Right?
Yeah, it's almost like a meme to hate on Dark Souls 2 as
Yeah.
like the bastard child of the Soulsborne series.
Right. And here's the thing. Dark Souls 3, out of Dark Souls 1, 2 and 3, Dark Souls 3 is my least favorite by a pretty large margin.
Wow. I
It's
mean,
fun.
they
I
messed
had
with
a
your
lot
mana
of fun
system.
with it. It's definitely the most polished when it comes to the actual combat system and the bosses. But the fun I had with Dark Souls 3 wasn't even close to the fun I had in Dark Souls 1 and 2.
That's fair. I think that it was definitely like the fidelity was a lot better, and that felt good. But I don't
Yeah.
have a lot of memorable moments from
Right.
Dark Souls 3. Uh, I think I really enjoyed um, the Abyss Watchers.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was really cool. Um, but like beyond that, I don't have a lot of like very deep impressions from it.
The
Um,
Ocelot, was that his name? The scaleless
oh yeah,
dragon?
the dragon dude. Yeah.
Those are like the
Well,
two bosses I remember the most.
I think Ocelot was the name that he kept saying.
It was the baby
Like
that
a
he was holding. That wasn't
child.
the name
Yeah.
of the dragon.
Right.
Um, and then Yorm, because of Sigurd, the big giant that you fought with the special
Yeah.
sword.
Right. Yeah. Because
But
it was like the only time uh that like an NPC just kind of I guess kind of intrudes in an active boss fight.
yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
which
call
was
it
super cool.
intruding, but like he just kind of walks in and he's like,
Was featured in it.
I'm here to like yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, my thing with Dark Souls 3, and I get it. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I've kind of tried to reason why it's technically the best of the 3 Dark Souls. Technically, you know what I mean? And why I liked it the least. And I think it's because the big moments in Dark Souls 3 obviously relied very heavily on Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
because it was like the time kind of looping in on itself theme, and like everything's kind of all crashing together. So they brought back a lot of nostalgic things from the first game. A lot of the bosses and a lot of the NPCs and stuff are references to the first one. And I would rather just play the first game,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
But that's really all I kind of wanted to discuss. I just noticed that IGN did a review on Bloodborne, and with their recent history of reviews, I was curious if it was going to be like an atrocity or not, you know?
They give it a 5.
Well, the Invincible. Are you caught up with Invincible?
No, I haven't watched past the first season.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna marathon it when the next season finished. I'm guessing it's done.
One more episode, or it just aired its last episode. One of those two.
Okay.
There is a character named, and I won't go into spoilers, right? But there's a character named Conquest that shows up, okay?
Sure.
That episode of season 3, unanimously, it's not even close, is like the highest rated episode ever of the show.
Okay.
Like 9.9 on Internet Movie Database. Like, people love it. It's such this like poetic thing that has like a bunch of references within it for other Robert Kirkman works. Because you know Robert Kirkman, the guy that makes The Walking Dead, does it?
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the same guy that makes The Walking Dead made Invincible. Same comic book writer, right?
Okay.
And he reuses, this is a lot of insider baseball, but Walking Dead, Stephen Yeun does Glenn. That's who Glenn is, right? Because you watched The Walking Dead. Glenn is killed by Negan.
Spoilers.
I mean, it's so old. If you're getting spoiled on that at this point, it's kind of your fault, right? Like,
yeah.
But you know this. And Negan is Jeffrey Dean Morgan, right?
Okay.
So one of the things that people really loved about this big end of the season fight is that Stephen Yeun is invincible, right? And like the final boss of season 3 is voiced by Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Oh no.
So the big joke online was the rematch of Negan and Glenn was like the big internet, like people getting hyped when they announced it.
That's awesome.
It is super awesome. And like across the board, 9.9 out of 10s for the episode. And it's incredible. It's such an amazing episode. The fights in it, the dialogue, everything in it is phenomenal. And IGN gave it a 4 out of 10.
Wow.
And everybody is like, what the hell did they watch? Like, the IGN reviewer said that it was by far the worst episode this season and got lost within its own plot. It's like, there's so many elements working in this episode. The only way that you could say that is if you had never seen another episode. Like, that's the opinion of somebody that has only seen that episode. Because if you've seen the rest of the season, this is the culmination of so much cool shit.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense if you don't have that context. You know?
You have to wonder for like critics, right? You know, is it one of those things where, because listen, Invincible is pretty popular.
Yeah.
I think anybody could really read that, you know.
As long as you're okay with hyperviolence.
Right. My point being that like it's generally popular.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but if you go in as like a critic, not as this is my personal critique, but this is my company's opinion of this episode.
Yeah.
And you see that like you are watching an episode that is like at the end of a like run of 9 point whatevers from like other reviewers, including the general public's opinion of all these episodes, and then you're like, actually, I don't like it. 5 or 4, I guess is what you said.
Yeah. And you
You
could
don't.
genuinely have that opinion. You really could.
Right.
I'm not discounting
Right.
that. However,
And
like, when you read
I
it, it clearly reads like he did not see the rest of it. Or he just got so lost in the weeds. I don't even know what the hell happened.
also, like, the thing going through my mind is I'm thinking like a food critic that goes into like, you know, Michelin star restaurant or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and decides to just like, you know, talk shit about the food because, that's the thing that gets them going is they're
Yeah,
like, I like to try and bring down popular things.
right.
And so I'm imagining like this show is like taking the internet by storm, and this guy wants to be a contrarian because he thinks, you know, that's just a critic thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Uh,
that's my explanation for it.
and that shit drives me crazy. I as a bit of a contrarian myself, it also annoys me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I've always I'm more of a contrarian in the trying not to like something for the sake of liking it. Like there's a lot of stuff. Like for me, I guess the biggest one was Game of Thrones. I watch I could never give a shit about Game of Thrones. I just couldn't, and I don't know why. I could recognize that what
no,
the
it's just it's like you said it with such like a I I just could never give a shit. Like
I
I'm just
couldn't.
that's
And but here's the thing. I fully understand why people like Game of Thrones. I'm not going to sit here and say like it's dog shit or it's bad or it's this or the writing's terrible. I don't like my like and dislike of it has nothing to do with any of that. And I completely understand why so many people love it. I am not taking away from the enjoyment that other people have. I can basically sum up why I didn't care for Game of Thrones because, and this might sound pretentious, I don't know. As I was watching it, I was like, this is neat. I would rather just watch or do like Lord of the Rings stuff. Like, I
yeah.
don't know if that makes sense, but to me, it was like, I don't particularly, this is fine. I much prefer like Lord of the Rings style fantasy. The the drama of Game of Thrones didn't suck me in. I'm not a big drama guy. So the whole interpersonal family, the over and the drama stuff just didn't hook me. I'm not a drama guy. That's not what I like, you know.
Yeah.
Oh
404
yeah,
we stream.
to answer your
Oh,
question,
good.
404, every Monday I go over like news and nerd topics and just kind of give my shitty opinions on stuff. And then every Thursday, I play a video game. And it's normally me and Jacob if he's not busy on Mondays. And there wasn't a ton of news today. So when this is over, I'll probably drop the stream and fire it back up to play like Marvel Rivals or Project Zomboid. But every Monday, Thursday are the streams. But yeah, since I'm not a drama guy, I can recognize that Game of Thrones wasn't for me. But completely
Yeah.
understand why people like it. If you want to know
It was
something that
funny
I
being on the
think is
outside.
absolute dog shit and I don't understand why people like it, Taylor Swift. That will always baffle me. I have no problem going on record saying
Careful.
I think Taylor Swift has some of the most dog shit music ever created in the history of the planet, and I do not understand the appeal in any way, shape, or form. I understand Limp Bizkit. Shout out to Tyson, who has terrible music tastes, the co-owner of this channel. Shout out to him. I understand Limp Bizkit more than I do Taylor Swift. And I'll die on that hill any day. It's like I will absolutely die on that hill any day.
I don't think you're Taylor Swift's target demographic, but
Good. I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be. But what were you about to say?
oh, what was I about to say?
Something about Game of Thrones when I said that I understand why people like it, but I can understand that it's not for me.
Oh, it's just funny being on the outside of like that trend for like pop culture and everything because it was like, I had basically at that point absorbed most of like the all the nerdy like fantasy, sci-fi, pop culture stuff up to that point. And then like this thing was taking the world by storm, and I didn't make it past the first season. And I was like, I'm good on that. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, but it's so great, it's so good. And
Mm-hmm.
it was funny to see all the people that weren't normally into like nerdy stuff be super into Game of Thrones and
Yeah.
have that kind of like uh this like melting pot of different cliques really into Game of Thrones, and then
Yeah.
like me, who's always been like really into like the nerdy stuff, not be into it.
Yeah.
Just like be outside of a nerdy thing for once, which was
Yes.
odd.
That was the big thing for me too. Is I don't know. I made it through 3 seasons of Game of Thrones. I gave it a real honest go. But it's
Yeah.
just drama. I don't care about drama. There's never been a drama series. Like, that's what it was. It had cool action scenes. I'm not taking that away. Like, some of the fights and some of like the big moments, very cool. But the overarching story of all the family drama and the kings and queens going at it and the throne and the drama, I just don't care. I don't. Drama to me is just nonsense. Like, it's just filler stuff that I don't particularly care about. But we do have a very important question on YouTube from 404 Error Not Found, an incredibly important question. And I'm going to say this with my whole chest. Nickelback every day. Every day. There's not a single Taylor Swift song. There is not a single Taylor Swift song that can hold a candle to the worst Nickelback song.
I can't believe you asked Taylor Swift or Nickelback to the guy that I believe said that the first concert he ever went to was Nickelback.
Correct. The first ever concert I went to was Shinedown opening with a Papa Roach feature headlining Nickelback. I was an alcoholic at 13. Like, that was what happened at that concert. But no, I haven't really listened to Nickelback in a long time. But I will say everybody shits on Nickelback until it comes on in the car, and then everyone's singing along. Everyone's singing along as soon as Nickelback hits in the car. But another series that I thought was going to be super overhyped and I was proven wrong was Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't start watching Breaking Bad until I can't remember if it had 5 or 6 seasons, but it was the second to last season. I started watching Breaking Bad when the second to last season was on TV. So I got all the way caught up with it throughout that second to last season and then watched the last season live as it came out, right?
Okay.
And for the first 3 seasons, people would not shut up about it. And I'm like, okay, I get it. It's a good show. I understand like the moral like draw to it, where it's gonna be like the dad, the dying cancer. Yeah, he's selling drugs. I understand the messaging and stuff. And then when I finally watched it with one of my ex-girlfriends, I was like, yeah, this show's absolutely incredible. Like, they nailed it 10 out of 10 on this show.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the hype that kills it. It's just it's different people's tastes, you know?
Yeah.
And I agree. I still listen to Papa Roach every once in a while. Papa Roach, out of those 3, is probably the one I listen to the most, like, as time went on. But I think with all that out of the way, we are going to move into I guess this is a good segue into the next article that we're going to be talking about. And that is Solo Leveling Season 2.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. It's amazing. Like, now it's my turn to be on the hype train, because Season 2 of Solo Leveling is easily in my top 3 favorite seasons of anime of all time. And I have some bias because Cowboy Bebop will always be very close to my heart. But Solo Leveling Season 2 is completely knocking it out of the park. Like, you're caught up, right?
Did you catch? Yeah, you caught Sunday's episode, right?
I did. I am completely
The
caught
fight
up.
scene was crazy.
It was maybe a hot take. I don't know. I liked the Baron fight more than Beru.
Okay.
The monarch that he fights with Essel.
Yeah.
I personally preferred that fight a little bit more than the ant.
I felt like he had a lot more control in last Sunday's fight, and so like it kind of felt like him absolutely just destroying like
Oh
an
yeah,
overwhelming target.
just stomping him.
But like in the one where he was fighting the Monarch, he was like,
He he
on the
almost
back foot
lost.
every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, also, since I've read it, I'm much further. The dynamic of like Essel and where all that goes, I was also kind of keeping that in mind as well, because I know I'm a little bit biased on that one because I've read it all. But yeah, the pacing of this season is like a lightning bolt. Oh, if I want a website to read it for free, no, I'm good. I appreciate the offer though. Solo leveling is one of those ones that it's so good, I will absolutely pay for it. You know, like that is me
Yeah.
paying for it because I appreciate the sheer like art and the how good the storytelling is. But yeah, Solo Leveling Season 2, if you've read it and then you watch it, they completely blasted through content this season. I feel like, and maybe it's a modern anime thing, and I don't know. I believe I've been a fan of anime a bit longer than you, right?
Yeah, I think so. A
Yeah,
little bit.
because I've been watching anime since like high school. I wasn't as like balls deep as I have been in the last like 4 or 5 years, but I've always watched anime. Oh, nice, right on. Thanks for the offer. I'll definitely hit you up or send you a message in one of the chats or something. But have fun in your class. Thanks for dropping by, and hope to talk to you soon. But so for solo leveling, most older anime, it's notorious for like filler, you know?
Yeah.
And
Well, like especially the ones that are like uh it's the ones that they had to have like an episode every week
yeah,
for
like
like
One
extremely
Piece,
long runs,
Dragon
or
Ball Z,
Naruto.
Naruto, like
Yeah.
any of the like big 3 and Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Bleach, but it's on my list once I'm caught up with One Piece. I have zero interest in Naruto. I'm just being honest. I do not give a shit. I've tried to watch Naruto a few times. I don't care. I do not like Naruto. I just don't. I don't know why. I just don't like it. But One Piece has been really good. Filler is brutal. And I think with how anime works nowadays and how popular it is, new anime can't do that. They just don't. They can't. Because there's so many more anime at the same time that's killing it or doing something different. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Which, it's yeah, there's just like a huge flow of content that, and I kind of have an opinion about it because it's one of those where like it's been a deluge of just crap
Yeah.
that's been coming out, and then like a few gems like solo leveling, for instance.
I
But
mean,
like,
I think the overall quality of anime is kind of going up as well. Because I feel like a lot of stories have to trim all the fat to stand out now.
yeah,
Because when I look back at like classic anime, I can think of Dragon Ball Z, I can think of Cowboy Bebop, I can think of Neon Genesis Evangelion. I mean, I'm watching One Piece now, but it was coming out at the same time as the rest of these. But like all those legacy anime, tons of bloat, incredibly fun, like super fun. Neon Genesis, no bloat, and Cowboy Bebop, like 1, maybe 2 episodes of bloat, but both of those only ran for a season, you know?
I feel like Cowboy Bebop was more like all bloat except for a couple of like episodes that had the long running plot relevance. They kind of
Yeah.
just always did a side story every single time, which I mean, it was cool because that was the point of the show. But like,
Yeah.
it was to say it didn't have. Uh, I don't know. You can't really call it filler
You're
because they
probably
just
right.
kind of did a random
I'm probably just
adventure
looking at it through
every
rose-colored glasses.
episode.
But
But it was
sorry, go ahead.
I it's special in its own way. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't follow the same rules as one of those that has like a long running plot. It was
Right.
a short run of a show.
Yeah. Um, hang on, I'm gonna look up something real quick.
I'm gonna look up how many episodes there were of Cowboy Bebop because I said a short run of a show, and now I'm realizing that I might have just felt like it was short because I was sad it ended.
But yeah. Also, the one of the taglines for Cowboy Bebop, that you're gonna carry that weight. That was like one of my favorite things ever for a long time. Like something about that, like middle school to high school Tyler just like latched onto. Like I love that shit. That was
Yeah.
like something that has still to this day sticks with me. But nowadays, you either have to be so unique that it's weird, or you have to do something specifically so well that you stand out. Because there's so much anime now. There's literally, it feels like 50 anime a day that comes out. It's nonsense. You know?
I'll occasionally log into Crunchyroll, and I'll just be like,
It's just an
wow,
ocean.
that is like everything in the featured is stuff that I don't even recognize, and it's been like 2 months since I last logged in.
Yeah.
And
Which Macy and I log in at least every other day because that's what we do. Like I'll get done with the stream, Macy and I will watch an episode or two of One Piece or just hang out or whatever. So we watch quite a bit of anime.
By the way, could we give kudos to Solo Leveling for keeping their name as Solo Leveling and not like having a paragraph as a name?
Yeah. Oh gosh, that trend is insane.
Yeah.
But all of the anime that I really like within the last year or two has some weird niche that it fills that's very different from the other ones. So like Solo Leveling is literally one of the best power fantasy anime I've ever seen. Like even, dare I say, a bigger power fantasy than like Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
Because
I mean, it's definitely, like the main character definitely has the um what was the term that you guys used, like the aura?
aura farming. It literally spawned
Yeah.
a like Gen Z joke of aura farming. Because everything that the show exists to make him the biggest badass that's ever existed.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the shit out of that.
Then in Dragon Ball Z, it kind of does that, except the guy is just interested in getting stronger, and he doesn't really talk like a badass. He's just kind of
Right. He just is a badass.
a lighthearted guy. Yeah, exactly.
Which that's part of the reason that I've always liked Vegeta more than Goku, you know? Now, my favorite episode of Solo Leveling so far is the one where he saves his mom.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even close. Like, the episode where he saves his mom, gives her the potion, saves her in the hospital is my favorite episode without a doubt. Like, all the fights are awesome. Give me that episode where he saves his mom 10 times out of 10 over that, you know? But when I was looking at like other animes that I really like or love recently, they all fill such a weird niche in the absolute best way. So like Solo Leveling, the power fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Stone, which I don't know if you've watched Dr. Stone or if you're aware of Dr. Stone.
I know of it.
Okay.
I did read up on some synopsis of it somewhere.
Yeah. Excuse me. TikTok. You're the worst.
Did TikTok do something?
So TikTok if you don't personally interact with it within a certain amount of time, it says, "Oh, you must be done streaming." But it's like, I'm playing a game. I'm not fucking around on TikTok, you know?
Yeah.
So it'll ring loudly in my ear, like, we're going to shut you down unless you interact with the page in the next, like, 20 seconds.
I guess that's to keep people from just like turning it on and walking away.
Yeah. So, Dr. Stone, the quick synopsis is a green light covers the entire Earth, turning every single human on the planet into stone. And then, like, a billion years later, the super crazy smart scientist wakes up and rebuilds the world. That is a unique enough story that I hadn't seen before that I started watching it, and it's incredibly fun.
Might have to give that a watch then.
Oh, it's super fun. Macy and I love it. Like, it releases every Thursday. It's in its last season. Would highly
Last
recommend
season?
it. Yes, its
Like,
last season is airing right now.
Okay.
My suspicion is that they're going to end it and then probably finish the whole thing with a movie, because that's pretty popular now. Because I don't see how they're going to wrap up everything in this season. But that's beside the point.
So I'm curious about something. Speaking of movies, I've noticed that they've started doing theatrical releases of like the first couple episodes of the next season of animes, which is kind of a weird thing to me.
Yeah,
like,
I've got mixed feelings about it, because Macy and I went to go see one of those for the most recent season of Demon Slayer. We thought it was going to be an actual movie, and then it turned out to be the last episode of the previous season and the first episode of the new season. If I would have known that's what I was getting into, I wouldn't have been nearly as upset.
I think they also did that for, it was either Jujutsu Kaisen or Solo Leveling. I can't remember which.
Oh, I know that they're doing it for Kaiju number 8. They just announced that.
Oh, okay.
And apparently that is a very normal or common thing in Japan and Korea to like build up hype for the next season, but it's not common here. Okay. So a lot of people are like, yo, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't expect it.
Yeah.
But
oh, did you have any input on recent animes that you've enjoyed?
I haven't been watching enough anime.
Oh, yeah.
It's I'll make one comment on one that I saw. I think I saw it on Crunchyroll, or it was just a meme I saw, but it was something about like reincarnating in another world as a vending machine, and they gave it like big ass anime eyes and everything.
Yeah,
just like
isekais.
So like,
are on
here's
their
the.
way out.
This is the funny thing that I think. It's the exact same thing that happened to bad horror movies, which was like people were making horror movies and a lot of them were bad, and that was hilarious and a lot of fun to watch. And then they got self-aware and started trying to make bad horror movies,
and they
because people enjoyed bad horror movies, and they were terrible.
Atrocious.
And so now I'm wondering if the same thing is happening to like anime, where they're like, there's bad anime, but some people will just read it or watch it because it's funny how bad it is.
Yeah.
And now we're getting to the stage where they're just making terrible anime to try and cash in on that meme.
Yeah.
Because this is me judging that concept at face value, admittedly, but reincarnating into another world as a vending machine seems like a seems like a pretty dumb concept, a pretty self-aware dumb concept.
The waking up is like
that's my read on it. No, just the vending machine aspect of it.
Oh yeah, the vending machine aspect.
If you wake up as like something cool or something powerful or something interesting, but they just woke up as a mundane object, that's like. Okay.
We do have a comment on TikTok. UV Shop says the movie releases will catch on. I've enjoyed them all, mostly Demon Slayer, and looking forward to Kaiju number 8. Now that I know what they are, I completely agree. The only reason I was disappointed is because the first time I saw the advertisement and stuff, I genuinely thought it was like a new movie. But now that I know what those are, I can go in with that mindset, and I'm also looking forward to it. Macy and I already checked the dates and stuff for Kaiju number 8, and we're going to go see that one for sure. So I'm super excited because Kaiju number 8 was one of them I was going to bring up as something that I really like. That has a very unique spin on things that I enjoy. Have you watched Kaiju number 8?
I think I don't know if I finished the whole first season, but I did watch part of it.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I think I got distracted. Let's see.
Yeah, big fan of that.
Well, I guess I
really
probably shouldn't talk about it
for
spoiler's sake.
And then Attack on Titan, I think, is an anime that got a lot of people into anime because it was so different. So that's a good example. The Delicious in Dungeon, phenomenal. Such a funny, goofy, fun watch. I don't know if you ever watched it.
I didn't, but I know just from like exposure to the memes and everything what it's about. Yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen, amazing. Holy shit. Is Jujutsu Kaisen incredibly good? Did you ever finish season 2?
You can't keep quizzing me on this. Put me on blast. No, I didn't.
Yeah, that's because you're a fake anime fan.
I told you that I don't watch a ton of anime.
Right. You gotta get caught up. But yeah, actual movies like Jujutsu Kaisen and stuff like that. The Jujutsu Kaisen 0, I think is what it was called. Very good. Incredibly good.
Was that a movie?
Yes. I think it's called Jujutsu Kaisen something 0.
Oh,
UV
the
Shop
prequel.
probably knows. Yes, the prequel movie. So good.
I did see that.
So good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. It was funny because I decided to go and watch it despite the fact that I hadn't seen the season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
Because a friend of ours was going to see it, and I was like, you know what? Why not? I'll go watch it, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
It turned out it was a prequel anyway, so it didn't matter.
Right, yeah. There are things in it that if you saw the first season or knew Jujutsu Kaisen, you could point and be like, oh, neat, you know.
Yeah.
And then, how could I forget my favorite anime right now, Spy Family. I adore Spy Family. That is, I absolutely
I need
love
to get
Spy
caught
Family.
up.
That is my fiance and I's favorite anime that we love every second of it. We went to go see the one-day release of the movie, Code White, in theaters. Loved every second of it. But Spy Family itself as anime is like its own vibe. Like, it is family fun mixed with like assassin spy drama. And I can't get enough of it. I named my dog after Anya from Spy Family. Like, it is without a doubt one of my favorite anime of all time. But yeah, like all of those have something I've never seen before in anime, and that might just be because I've never seen anything with it, or they've done it in a different enough way that I've noticed this time. Oh, yeah. UV Shop makes a very good point about the My Hero Academia movies being very good. Just be wary of the crazy fan base that My Hero Academia has. Which I believe, Jacob, you said that you've had some experience with some weird My Hero Academia nonsense.
Oh, yeah. There was I ran into a guy at a job I had a while back that, like, I won't get into details, but let's just say that, let's say he was a particular type of fan. And just drop that in the first conversation I had with the guy.
Yeah. It's the stereotype of My Hero Academia fans. And that's pretty much all you got to say. And then any anime fan knows exactly what is being talked about. But yeah, so Solo Leveling for me right now is my favorite current anime. Other than Spy Family, but that one's on like a weird hiatus after the movie where we don't know when it's coming back. And I don't think they've secured anything for another season. They're working on it, but there has absolutely been zero news or any update on if or when the next season is coming out. It's really weird.
Okay.
So literally active anime at the moment, Solo Leveling without a doubt. It's not even close. And then Spy Family kind of overall in modern anime. Yeah. Solo Leveling is already greenlit for another season. Jacob, do you think it is a good or a bad thing that the final episode's going to be slow compared to the rest of the season?
I guess it depends on how they do it. Because I've read it too, so I know what's coming. So I'm not going to like go into detail on.
No spoilers. But
Right.
clearly, this last episode is going to be like tying up loose ends and talking to people.
Right. Because I don't want to get into details on the last episode that happened either. So it's hard to say. But so just in a general sense, not specifying Solo Leveling, but just kind of like season structure as a whole. I personally prefer closure at the end of a season over cliffhangers, and or like things that end at the climax of the season.
Yeah.
I think that is just one of those that just really feels like you get a visceral empty feeling right after the episode ends, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like you feel like, it just ended way too quickly and you're just like, come on. But if they are doing a slow-paced final episode, I warmly welcome it. I think that is personally my preference for how to end a season.
Yeah.
I reference it a lot. So we were wondering whether or not we were going to bring this show up, but we could talk about season 2 later of it. But the show called Severance had an interesting season 1 where cliffhangers were basically just par for the course for every episode.
Yeah.
And it was not exclusive to the main episodes. It also had like the biggest cliffhanger as the season finale.
I've seen people call Severance a fake good show.
That's a weird take.
And I understand what they're saying. I disagree. So basically what they're saying is that it's a bad show written well, because if every episode relies on a cliffhanger like that, the reason that people are tuning in is to solve the mystery, not because it's a good show. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they're relying too much on the cliffhanger and the, oh shit, what's going on, where the context of the show isn't enough to carry it, so they have to do that. I disagree. I love the concept. I think even without the cliffhangers, I would be absolutely in.
Yeah. I think there's enough unique dynamic going on in the show, which for people that don't know enough about the show, the basic concept is like you've got an alternate personality that's been basically separated from your life and put into like the basement of this corporate building, and you basically go there and that personality takes over for 8 hours and you don't remember any of it, but they also don't know anything about your life, and so they only have the context of what happens there, and it gets into some weird dynamics for like them trying to understand what their life is and what their lot is. So
yeah. Severance to this day has one of my favorite things a TV show has ever done. And I don't know if it happens in season 1, so I don't know how big of a deal it would be to spoil it, But it's when the girl is leaving work. I guess spoiler warning for season 1. Okay. Since they are disconnected when they go to work, the girl, I can't remember her name to save my life.
You're going to have to be more specific, I think. The redhead?
Yes. The main girl in like the core group in work.
Helly.
Yes. When she is in the elevator and tries to hang herself, so that way when she's on her way up, her other conscious would wake up with that.
Yeah.
Was one of the cool, like not cool when it comes to the context of what's going on, but one of the wildest ideas I've ever seen in a TV show, and I was hooked. I was like, that's incredible writing to me. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that. I don't think if I was on the writing room, I would have thought of that, you know?
Yeah.
We do have a couple of comments from a couple of different places. So on TikTok, UV Shop says that it's vintage now to have like closure because everything needs a cliffhanger, like in the old Toonami days. I completely agree, but I do prefer having closure. I think it bows much better in if something happens and the show can't come back. Like if everything was a cliffhanger, then you're never going to have a satisfying end. Is kind of the issue.
Yeah.
We also had somebody literally drop in, leave a comment, and then leave that just said solo leveling is well done. I agree.
Just here to agree and then
Ironclad
go on.
Phoenix for the random pop in and agreements. And then on YouTube, 404 Error is back with his alternative account, asking what other animes that we're looking forward to coming up. So basically, when you were in your class for a second there, we were talking about Kaiju number 8. I'm incredibly excited for Kaiju number 8 and Spy Family. Those are like the two most anticipated for me. Another anime that I'm very excited for that I hope isn't forgotten because it's kind of in a weird production limbo is Zom 100. I think Zom 100 was incredibly fun and original. So I would say those are probably my top 3 right now. Back to the
like
ending of Solo
anime.
Leveling. One of my favorite characters in Solo Leveling is Thomas Andre, the character that they teased in season 2. So I'm so excited to get into Thomas Andre. He's my favorite character
Thomas
in
Andre.
the
Solo Leveling? Thomas Andre?
Yeah.
I guess I don't remember. Go ahead.
You don't remember Thomas Andre?
I guess not.
Did you read?
Well, now I'm gonna have to Google it.
Did you read Solo Leveling? How do you not remember Thomas Andre?
I mean, it was a while ago.
Huh. Because Thomas Andre is like the national level hero that everybody... Like when it comes to Solo Leveling characters, I would say in like the top 5, Thomas Andre would be like 3 or 4, maybe. Or maybe just me. Like, I like him the same way that I like Negan from The Walking Dead, where he's not a good guy, but his character is really good. You know? Like, you get what I'm saying, right?
I guess he didn't leave an impression on me.
That's crazy. I love Thomas Andre. He is so a baller. It's so odd to me that you don't remember him.
He's like 80 chapters in, so maybe at that point I was like skipping some context or something.
I don't necessarily want to spoil anything, but I'm curious what the last thing you remember reading is.
I mean, I finished it. I definitely read him.
I have a very hard time believing that you read through Solo Leveling and don't remember Thomas Andre.
How recently did you read through it? Because I think I read through it like
a year ago, maybe 8 months.
Okay. Because I remember reading it like when it finished, and I don't know, I can't remember when that was.
Because they teased him in season 2. They said his name and was like, hey, he's not going to be able to, he won't join.
I think they showed his face too, with sunglasses.
Yeah. But
I guess you're excited.
There's also Sung Jin Woo's dad that they teased as well. He's very cool.
Yeah.
UV Shop brought up Sung Jin Woo's dad. Very, very cool. But yeah, maybe I just really like Thomas Andre, and I'm getting hyped up about a character most people don't give a shit about. But and I can't talk about it because it'd be all spoilers for the show. But he's like your introduction to national level heroes.
As in, like, we have, uh, I guess they're in Korea, right?
Yep.
You know, they've got their own ranking of heroes.
Well, no, those are world rankings. The entire world follows the same ranking system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's E through S, which coordinate with the gates, how hard or strong the gates are, right?
Right.
And then if, as an S rank hunter, you clear an S rank gate or do a certain feat, then you get promoted to a world stage as a national level hero. And Thomas Andre is like the number 1 or number 2 national hero in the world.
Okay.
Who runs a guild out of America. Yeah. Oh,
right.
Have a great night, UV Shop. Thank you so much for dropping by. It was great having you and great talking with you. Thank you for all the questions. And I had a great time. Hope to see you again in the future. But like Thomas Andre is like one of the top. I can't remember if he's the top, but he's one of the top 2 or 3 national heroes. And he has a little bout with Sun Jin Woo where it's like a frenemies kind of thing. I love it. He's, like I said a minute ago, I love him as a character the same way that I love Negan from The Walking Dead, where it's like I don't idolize him. It's not like Superman, where it's like, oh, he's such a hero and I love him. He's a dirtbag, but he's written so well as a character, I can appreciate that. And they did him so well. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, love Thomas Andre. I actually play the solo leveling game on my phone.
Was that like one of those gacha games or something?
It is a gacha game for sure. It's very friendly to free-to-play players. It's one of the only mobile games I've ever actually put some money into. And I'm not saying like tons and tons of dollars, just like a couple bucks here and there to support the game because I like it so much. But I saved the in-game currency that you can earn because you can always earn like a little bit to keep you going, right?
Right.
I saved all of my in-game currency from when I started until Thomas Andre came out to max him out. He's the only character that I have like maxed out in that game because I saved every penny for him because I was so excited for him. But yeah, I'm so excited for Thomas Andre. But yeah, I don't know. I might just be overhyping a character most people don't give a shit about. But well, do you remember the in season 1 the guy that that gets killed by Sung Jin Woo because he betrays other hunters and like kills them and takes the stones?
Right. Yeah.
His older brother Dong Soo.
Right.
Tries to kill Sung Jin Woo. The one that shows up and beefs with Beck outside the Red Gate.
Yeah.
Thomas Andre is his guild leader.
Right.
Yeah. But
I mean, that all makes sense.
Yeah. So looking forward to it. We're going to definitely meet him next season, and I'm stoked for that. And some of the fights that are coming up. When solo leveling season 2 first started, I assumed the end of season 2 would be the Baron fight. I really was not expecting them to make it through the ants.
Yeah, they definitely made it really far. And I mean, there's a ton of content to get through if they're trying to like make this, you know, a reasonably long or a reasonably length anime.
Yeah, getting through all of the demon tower, all 100 floors of it in half a season blew my mind. I was like,
I mean, it was pretty summarized in the it's manhwa, right? That's how it's pronounced.
I believe I don't know if that's a Korea, like it's Korean, so it's manhwa, or if that's like the online, like it's not like I don't know the intricacies of the word, you know.
The reading thing, the way you read it, it felt like they would like jump back to it a lot. but it was always kind of like, here is a quick still of like the current hellscape that they're in. Anyway, other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And like he would just be like 10 levels further in every time they cut over to him, which is kind of what they did in the anime. They just stacked it all together.
Right. But here's the funny thing. If solo leveling came out 20 years ago, like 2004 to the late 90s, we would probably be on season 13, 14, and we would just now be finishing like the demon tower, like castle,
Yeah.
you know? Like they
Yeah,
would have
absolutely.
added on so many side stories and little gimmicky things. So I'm glad that anime is moving away from that, you know?
Right. Condensing it down into a good amount of enjoyable content.
Yeah. I mean, every episode's a banger. There's not a single dud in season 2.
Yeah.
But so we've talked a lot about anime. You ready to move on to the final category?
Sure, it's one I know almost nothing about, so I will play the role of the guy that you are teaching all this stuff about.
Yeah, and I honestly don't have a ton to say. I really don't. This was going to be very brief, and then I figured that we could hop on a video game for the last like hour and a half to 2 hours, you know?
Yeah.
But the Assassin's Creed Shadows, obviously one of the most controversial games to come out this year. The controversy now is the fact, and I don't even know if this is true. I haven't played it. I want to be very clear right now, up front, 100%. I have not played it yet, so it is speculation on my end as well. But the most recent crazy thing that everybody's freaking out about and is upset about is that not only did they have Yasuke, which was the Black Samurai that everybody was losing their shit over, right? You can make him also gay.
Okay.
So now people are like, not only did you like stretch the suspension of disbelief for the time period, but you've even more blown it out. And if it's an option, who gives a shit?
Right.
Like anytime that it's open to where it's like, oh, you can or can't do this thing. If you do it, you should be upset with yourself. Like, I don't know. But apparently the game is really fun. Like when it comes to gameplay and stuff, people are saying it's fantastic and like a good return to form. And it already has 2 million purchases and is doing really well.
I don't think I've played an Assassin's Creed game since, man, I would probably say Black Flag.
Really? I made it a couple games after that. I think maybe...
Oh, Syndicate. That was
the last one I played.
Syndicate.
And I didn't like Syndicate.
I think that was
never
like...
finished it.
Was that one of the like... what's Xbox's like monthly games thing? I can't remember what that's called.
The Game Pass?
Yeah, did it end up on there? Is that why we played it?
Maybe. I think I bought it.
Oh, okay.
I vaguely remember buying it. Because I liked Assassin's Creed for a super long time.
Yeah.
But
hearing that it might be a return to form is a nice... that's nice.
Yeah.
I think that they've been Ubisoft as a studio has been a controversial studio in terms of like I think a lot of people are jumping on the hate train for that, and so if they are trying to return to form with this game, I absolutely welcome it.
Me too.
I still probably won't play it personally, and I think I just kind of got fatigued from the formula.
Same. I'm not playing it, not because of any of the controversies. I could not give less of a shit about that. It's basically I'm so disconnected from Assassin's Creed. I don't think me hopping back in now is going to do anything for me.
Oh yeah, are they still running the plot like that's parallel to the games where you're some guy that is like jumping into his memories, or is it just all memories now. Like,
So the
has
last
that?
story plot that I know from Assassin's Creed is Odyssey because my fiance played it.
Oh,
And
okay.
with Origins and Odyssey, and I think maybe the Viking one too, there's a new protagonist that's not Desmond. That's a lady. I don't remember her name. I am speaking from somebody who passively saw this as I was doing something else, you know?
Right.
And it's like 90% in the Animus. And then you get little snips of what they're trying to figure out in the real world. I don't know if Assassin's Creed Shadows is a continuation of that, but I do know that there was this new lady protagonist that was like an archaeologist or something. She would use the Animus to find these relics and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's still her or not. But I don't think Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to do anything for me just because I'm so disconnected from Assassin's Creed. And there's nothing that Assassin's Creed is going to give me that I can't get from another game that I like better.
Right.
But the debate online, since it's doing so well, is it's been reported for a long time that Ubisoft might go out of business.
Wow. Is that still
Because
true?
they have been financially doing so poorly. And until they announce their like next quarter earnings, the debate right now is this going to be enough to save Ubisoft? Because they've been going so bad for so long.
Oh, okay.
And it's, as anything on the internet, people are split 50-50. I hate that every single debate on whether a game is good or not just eventually devolves into some political bullshit of like woke or not woke.
Right.
Because it takes away from any genuine discussion that we could have on this topic.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. We both were very big Assassin's Creed fans. Oh, you know what? We played Assassin's Creed Unity.
Oh yeah, we were probably one of the top guilds because we made
We
the
played it for
extremely
longer than
big
a week.
brain.
Like...
Well, no, we made the big brain move of making our guild name Sun Bros, and then we were getting like a dozen invite requests like
Yeah.
a day,
For
and
people
they
that
didn't
just
have
wanted
an
to
upper
join in.
limit on the number of people that could join, and the competitions that they would have were additive. They were not like average progress made per player, and so like every week they had a competition for like who did the most, and our team would just destroy the competition.
It was so funny.
There's no penalty for having someone bad in your clan.
Right.
So like, but anyway, we did play Unity. That one was an interesting one.
I think if they would have actually released that in a good condition, it would have been the best Assassin's Creed game.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And
that
the fact that because of their mess ups, they didn't go back to the multiplayer formula is such a kick in the balls.
Yeah. I think they could have so I can't say that I know that they haven't done anything in any of the other games, but I feel like they could have at least done something with like a tangential mini game or something like that. Not something that's like core to the plot of the game like it was for Unity, but at least have like some aspect of the game that you could do multiplayer in.
Something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check a couple things because I can't have all the chats up at once. But it seems like Facebook is struggling. I don't know what's up with Facebook. I just checked out the live stream to see how it was doing on Facebook, and it's still us on the Bloodborne screen is how far behind it is.
Oh wow.
So that's fun. But is there anything else that you want to chat about?
Yeah, I think that's about it.
I think it is for me too. I mostly wanted to talk about solo leveling and like the IGN stuff and like some other series going on. But when it comes to like announcements or big news, there really wasn't a lot when I was looking into it. But I would be down to play a little bit of Marvel Rivals if you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Right on. All right, everybody. I'm going to shut down the stream and I'm going to hopefully figure out the Twitch thing, but I will be live on Marvel Rivals with Jacob here in like 3 to 5 minutes. So thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you soon or in the next one. Have a great night if you don't join us back.
Good night, everybody.